On this channel, we talk a lot about DaVinci Resolve and its latest and greatest features, but in this video, I want to talk about all of the accessories that I use alongside the software and which ones I think are worth it, which ones are overhyped, maybe some that are underhyped. Let's dive into it, but first, a quick word. I've actually been taking a lot of time to work on my DaVinci Resolve course. Literally hundreds of you have been asking me to add content involving the desktop version, not just the iPad. So I've completely overhauled it and added about 20 new videos, completely going over the desktop version, covering multiple monitors, and actually specific videos on how to switch from Premiere and how to switch from Final Cut and comparing the user interfaces to help make the transition easier. All of those new videos are going to be live early or by midweek next week. And because I've put so much time and energy into it, I am going to be raising the price. This will be the last weekend that you can join in at the price that it currently is. So if you're interested, the link is down in the description below. But for now, we can get back to the main video that we were talking about. So first, let's talk about the speed editor. I've been using the speed editor pretty much since it came out. And to be honest, it's one of the things that I'm on the fence about recommending all the time. It really involves asking the question, what buttons and shortcuts and type of editing style are you into? Because unfortunately, the buttons on it are non-customizable whatsoever. You can't reprogram any keys or switch them out, even in the software. However, the biggest selling point is the scroll wheel by a mile. Because here's the thing, you can get other editing keyboards that have little scroll wheels on them. We're gonna talk about one of those in a few minutes. But what the wheels do on those other keyboards is actually just doing the left and right arrow key shortcut just very quickly. But what that causes is very jittery scrolling and pretty much just one speed of scrolling. On the speed editor, you can actually change between shuttle, jog, and scroll, basically 3 variations of speed to get throughout your timeline. And so you can go to scroll mode, for example, and get across a long timeline very quickly, or you can change the mode to get extremely precise and really just a good feeling while editing to put your playhead exactly where you want it to be, to make cuts or move things around. It's relatively compact. I actually brought it with me to NAB, plugs in just via a USB and is powered by whatever you're plugged in, but it does also have an internal battery, so you can actually use it through Bluetooth, which is how you use it for the iPad version. If you look at the button layout and find yourself using a lot of those buttons most of the time, then I think it's well worth it. Moving on to another editing keyboard, this is the Torbox Neo. This I've also been using for the past handful of years, and it basically supplements the con of the speed editor. I use this in my left hand, and it's basically just filled with a bunch of different shapes of buttons and wheels and toggles. It almost looks like a giant fidget toy. This has been a huge game changer, and one of the biggest reasons that combined with the scroll wheel of the speed editor, I've been able to edit 30 to 40% faster than what I used to by just using keyboard shortcuts. The software is incredible because it's so easy to use, and very, very quickly I can open it up, add a new shortcut to a key, kind of close it out, and there's not a lot of fuss with this product, which I think is incredibly important for something that's supposed to be good for productivity. The other cool thing is the shortcuts and button layouts will change depending on the application you currently have open. So you can customize all the buttons for DaVinci Resolve, but then if you open up Photoshop or Premiere or Final Cut or literally any other program on your computer, it will then completely change the layouts depending on what you have set up. So it's incredibly versatile. I think it's well priced, and overall it's just a really good product to have. Do you want a piece of video creation advice? Of course you do. Did you know that the music and sound in your videos is arguably more important than the video? Which 3-second video is less cringy to you? Is it this video that sounds good but is shot at 25,600 ISO, out of focus, and looks terrible? Or is it this video that looks great, but the audio is absolutely terrible? So we agree. Sound is very important, and that's why you should check out Today's sponsor, Artlist. Artlist.io is one of the best platforms for music, sound effects, and all-around production assets. With over 22,000 songs, 27,000 sound effects, and more being added every single day, it is super easy to find a music or sound that perfectly matches whatever project you are working on. Whether you're a solo creator, a creative professional, or a team, there's plans that will work for each and every one of you. And using the various filters and search algorithms on their platform, finding music has never been easier. And that's made even faster by the For You page, which is personalized to your own musical taste. If you want to learn more, check out the link down in the description below. Thanks to Artlist for supporting the channel, and thanks for making this video sound so good. Next up, you have the Blackmagic Cloud Store. So I did a video on this last year because they actually sent one out to me, the mini version, which is the 8 terabytes. There's also the Pocket, I believe it's called, where it's just kind of the interface and then you plug in your own hard drives. That's a couple $100. And then they have the Cloud Store, which starts at like 10 terabytes and can go up to like 360 terabytes for a ridiculous amount of money. But at their core, they're all the same product. It allows you to take a hard drive and turn it into a NAS system that is directly working with DaVinci Resolve. You can plug in an HDMI and get a really cool interface going where you can kind of see where the data is stored. You can see what sort of read and writes you're getting depending on what you're plugged in, whether it's a 10 gig, 1 gig Ethernet, a USB Type-C port. I did ask Blackmagic last year if you're able to have user upgrades for the drive, since it can be limiting to just have 8 terabytes forever. In theory, they totally built it to where a normal user could take it apart and upgrade the, I believe it's just M.2 SSDs sitting inside there. They haven't confirmed if that will void any warranties or anything like that, so don't go ripping it apart just yet. At the end of the day, it's a fine NAS system. It's definitely pretty expensive. I think the Pocket one is definitely probably a no-brainer. You can plug in any hard drive you want, and then you get the nice user interface of getting a Dropbox or a Google Drive backup solution. You can kind of create a shared network for multiple editors in the same space to edit off of. So I can have Michelle edit at this desk, just drop a bunch of footage on the Cloud Store, and then instantly we both have access to it because the project is syncing via Blackmagic Cloud, and then the footage and assets are syncing via the Cloud Store. This definitely goes on my list on not necessities, and it's definitely a hyper niche product for a certain group of people. Finally, we have the control panels. Now these, of course, are specifically designed for the color page. Blackmagic gave me one for about a month last year to review. It was the mini panel, which they, I guess at some point in recent times, actually dropped the price by $1,000. It used to be $3,000, and now I believe it's $2,000. There's also the micro, which basically is the same as the mini, just chops off the screens and extra buttons on top. And then of course you have the advanced panel, which is gonna run you about, I think, 25 or 30 grand. Needless to say, that one is definitely more reserved for the ultra professional colorists. But the micro and mini panels are an interesting bunch. I mean, I absolutely loved the experience of using them. It took about a week to really get my muscle memory down and become faster using it than just using my mouse to scroll around the color page. So it just takes kind of learning where the buttons and dials are. But once you actually start grading, I think it's an incredible process. I actually got to witness someone using a panel for the first time. Brandon Washington, we were hanging out at NAB. The whole week I was trying to softly convert him to Resolve. Took him over to the booth, and my Apple psychology brain told me if I can get him to just touch the panel, he'll have a blast and immediately want this entire setup. And I don't know if he's gonna switch, but it definitely worked, at least in the moment. He got pretty hooked. And I think the reason people fall in love with using panels so much is because it can feel more natural using physical like wheels and the balls and the dials, rather than using a mouse to have to look at a user interface on a screen and drop down menus. Your cursor can only go to one spot at a time. You can literally be doing multiple things at once with the panels. So if you find color grading is a big part of your process, or you want to start the journey of being a colorist where you do color work for other people, I think these panels are actually incredibly priced. They're not cheap, but they're not cheap products. If you're primarily an editor who just dabbles in color or does quick Rec 709 conversions real quick, it would definitely be more of a want than a need buy, which, hey, it's your money, do with it what you want. But anyone who does substantial color work every week, I think it will pay for itself pretty quickly. Let me know if I missed any accessories that you have fallen in love with. I would love to learn about more accessories out there specifically for Resolve. Again, if you're interested in learning more about my beginner course, if you're new to DaVinci Resolve or switching over from another program, check those links down in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.